Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, before I get started with this lesson, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect pushing his word throughout the four corners of the earth in truth, righteousness, and sincerity. To you I say shalom. This is your brother Yeshaya coming at you again through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. And the title of this lesson will be The 10 Horns. The 10 Horns shall hate the whore. Okay. And I got an article that I'm going to read, then get some precepts. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. This article that I got, though, is from naturalnews.com. And the title says, How Blindly Following the U.S. Has Led Germany to Economic Collapse. Okay. Because as we know, Germany is an ally to the U.S. You know, it's a NATO nation, an EU nation, right? I believe it's an EU nation, but you know, nonetheless, they're in alliance with the United States, right? And as of recently, I mean, I'm gonna read this because it goes into the Nord Stream pipeline and a lot of decisions that were made in behest of the United States, right? Telling Germany pretty much what to do, right? Um, well, we're gonna start by reading a little bit of this, and then we get some precepts. But it says just some bulletins. It says Germany is facing a potential recession following its decision to cut energy ties with Russia under pressure from the United States. And when you look this up, that Nord Stream pipeline was really supplying about 35% of Europe's energy or oil fuel resource, right? They pretty much supplied 35% of it, and that's a huge, huge margin, right? When you put it in dollars and cents, you know that's a major impact in your economy. That means that gas rose up 35%, right? But we'll get into this. We'll continue reading a little bit more. It says Russia Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova blames Germany's obedience to U.S. demands for severing energy cooperation with Russia, leading to its economic downturn. Right, so we're seeing an economic fall or economic uh, problem, right, going on with these countries over there in Europe, mainly Germany right now. Like I said, Germany's hurting right now, and the people over there are hurting, right? A lot of these westernized countries are really hurting, especially those that's allied with the United States. You know, and in the days that we're coming into, especially with these new elections, new leaders in these other in these other countries, right? New leaders, new parties, all this and that. And then you have Donald Trump coming into office talking about, you know, getting more strict with the NATO nations, having to pay more. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna start seeing a divide. We're gonna start seeing a split, you know, here soon, because all these countries over there in Europe are taking a beating in their economy. You know what I'm saying? It's not beneficial for them uh, to do everything that America tells them to do, because ultimately, as we've seen with Germany, it has been a detriment to them in following the guidance of America, right? We're seeing them that their economy is collapsing, right, due to um, the ties that they have with America. But let's continue reading. It says in 2022, the 2022 sabotage of the Nord Stream pipelines severely compromised Germany's energy security, further destabilizing its economy. Major industries, particularly automotive, are suffering with companies like Volkswagen and Mercedes-Benz experiencing rising costs and shrinking profits. So even these major companies are experiencing losses, right, or shrinking profits. It says, and because what they can do is raise it up for the people, but when people are suffering so much, ain't nobody gonna be buying nothing when you hike up the prices that much. So they kind of have to like give you some competitive prices and cut some things, and make certain adjustments to where um, pretty much make certain adjustments to where they can continue doing business. But soon we're gonna come to a point where no business is gonna be had. Ain't nobody gonna be having money out here. But continuing on, it says Germany's economic challenges serve as a cautionary tale, underscoring the risks of prioritizing foreign policy over economic prag, prag, Slovakia, pragmatism pragmatism, with potential implications for other nations. You see, so let me read this again. It says Germany's economic challenge serve as a cautionary tale. So what they're taking from this is all you other nations, European, all these allies to the United States, this is take Germany as a cautionary tale, as an example. You following after America, you following, you pretty much doing what America tells you to do is going to end badly for you, essentially. And America doesn't care. All these are vassals to America. They do America's bidding, right? But as we see, a lot of the decisions that are made is not for the better of that country. It's for the better of America. So it's gonna come to a point where these countries are going to just start to hate the whore, going to start to hate America. These European countries, they already hate Americans, right? They can't stand Americans. The pride that these Americans got, these countries over there, they can't stand that shit, right? Feeling superior than them and all this and that. But like I said, soon it's gonna come to a point where these motherfuckers ain't gonna stand it. They're gonna want to cut ties with America, right? Uh, for the foreign policy that they're enforcing. But continuing on, it says Germany has plummeted from the ranks of global economic powerhouses to a national teetering on the brink of recession. And who's to blame? For Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokeswoman Maria Zakharova, it is not Russia, as some might think. She said that it is Germany's fault, specifically its blind obedience to American pressure. Excuse me. But it says, um, in an interview that should be required reading for every German politician, laid bare the truth. Germany's economic deadline is a direct result of its decision to decouple from Russian energy. It's a decision that has left the once mighty German economy in tatters, a shadow of its former self. A few years ago, Germany was the envy of the world. Its economy was booming, driven by a combination of smart policies, strategic partnerships, and cooperation with Russia. The energy supplies from Moscow were a cornerstone of that success, providing Germany with the cheap, reliable fuel it needed to power its industries and keep its export machine humming. But then came the U.S. pressure. Now they're presenting, that pressure that the United States gave them as being that problem, right? That America's interests are not aligned with America's vassals' interests, right? And this is where the problem lies, right? How America is focusing more on their agenda and their issues at hand than the problem of the people, the problem of the economy, the consequences of taking certain actions, right? And over here in America, we don't gotta, worry about that. You know what I'm saying? In a sense. Now, these Americans are gonna have to worry about this when it soon come because like I said, these vassals that America's got, is going to eventually fall apart, which is going to leave America by itself, isolated, right, with enemies all around her. You know what I'm saying? But as of now, Americans feel like they don't gotta worry about none of this stuff. It ain't gonna hit America. It ain't gonna hit us here at home, right? So they have this mindset of, oh, I don't care. That's over there. It ain't over here. But soon it's gonna come to that point, like I said, to where America's gonna be left alone. You know, World War III. We're just on the brink of going into World War III, right? We understand that things, are going to progress in the time span that the Most High wants them to progress, but it's coming. You know, World War III is coming. It's on its way here, right? And America's going to need allies. And I'm just saying this, uh, putting it like in a way to where, um, um, what really America should be doing, right? But we understand, according to prophecy, America's not going to do this. America is going to continue doing what it's doing. Its allies are going to rebel against her, and it's going to shoot America with nukes, right? But that just shows you the how should I say it, the mismanagement and I guess you could say the careless type of rulership that Esau is having here. America doesn't care, or these Edomites, they don't care about the people. They don't care about, you know, uh, 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 the countries and all this and that. All they really care about is having that dominion. You know what I'm saying? To the point where they'll go far, and they'll, sacrifice one of their countries, one of their vassals, in order to, so-called achieve the greater good, right? But anyway, let me continue reading. Um, where was I? Salakia. I think I'm right here. It says, but then came the U.S. pressure. Faced with threats from Washington, Berlin chose to sacrifice its own economy or economic interests on the altar of transatlantic loyalty. The decision to cut off energy supplies from Russia was not just a mistake, it was a catastrophic error that sent shockwaves through the German economy. You see? It says the destruction of Nord Stream gas pipelines, a brazen act of sabotage that occurred in September 2022, was the final nail in the coffin. With its energy lifeline severed, Germany was left to fend for itself in a volatile global market, and an economy in free fall was the result. It says Zakharova, Zakharova, can't even pronounce that name, but it says was blunt in her assessment because of U.S. influence. Cooperation was severed by Germany. The energy source was blocked. It says the consequences have been devastating. German companies, once the backbone of the nation's prosperity, are now fleeing to more stable environments. The automotive industry, a symbol of German engineering excellence, is crumbled under the weight of rising costs of shrinking profits. Volkswagen and Mercedes-Benz, once titans in the industry, are now struggling to stay afloat. But like I said, soon these nations are going to start figuring out that it's not in their best interest um, to continue to follow after America, right? To put America's interest first, right? Like I said, transatlantic. Let me find that. What was that term that they used? Bear with me. It talks about how they sacrificed right here. It says, but then it came the U.S. pressure, faced with threats from Washington. Berlin chose to sacrifice its own economic interest on the altar of transatlantic loyalty. You see, so now they're saying that that loyalty that Germany had with the United States was a mistake. Because now look at them, right? Now let's get a precept. Let's go to second, not second, Salakia, Revelation 17 and verse 16. It says, "In the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore," and those 10 horns being the um, EU nations, right? The NATO nations, the European, what do they call them? European Community Commerce, something like that. Can't really remember the term, but the ECC, right? But all these countries, they're eventually going to come to the realization that America doesn't. Again, America's interest is not what's best for them, right? It's going to be a detriment unto them. They're going to use that. They might use Germany as an example, right? Should they use? They're doing it right. They're doing it right now. And who's to say they don't have other plans behind the scenes that they're working on, right? You had also what's it called? France, right? You have France. Just a couple years ago, I think they had like some kind of deal with Australia. I think it was Australia. Yeah, some kind of nuclear sub deal. But then America swooped in, and took the deal from France, which would have been a major uh, economic boost for France, right? It would have been a good boost for France to uplift their economy. But then America just swooped in and stole that deal. And France felt some type of way about that, right? So who's to say they ain't mad right now, kicking up some plot with Germany on the side, possibly even bringing in some of these other countries over there, right? Um, let me continue on in this. It says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire." Because ultimately, when World War III breaks out, these nations are going to turn against America, right? These nations, I mean, because it's almost like you have you have allies, you have people around you, right? That are supposed to be allies, and you go in a battle, then all of a sudden they're like, "Nah, we ain't going to battle. We ain't going to go to war and help you out in your war, right?" What are you gonna do? You're gonna call them a traitor and consider them an enemy, right? As that's a possible situation where we might see happen, right? Where these nations don't want to go to war, and America will want to bring them into that war to the point where America is going to consider them an enemy if they don't, right? Like I said, you have Trump coming into the office, right? We saw what happened the past couple years when he was in office, or the time when he was in office, how he was instigating these NATO nations, these NATO leaders, right? Forcing them to contribute more into the pot. Now, continuing on, it says, "For the Most High hath put in their hearts to fulfill His will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled." Right? Ultimately, this is all the will of the Lord. The Most High controls the hearts of the kings. Right? The Most High controls the play-by-play. Everything's already written. The game's already set. The plays, whatever everybody's gonna do, it's already been predetermined. Right? It's a rigged game. A rigged almost like when they rig football games, right? They tell you the play by play. They have the whole script of how things is gonna go, right? That's pretty much what the scriptures are, giving the play by play of everything that's gonna happen on a global scale, and that's what we're about to see. But it says, verse 18, and the woman which thou sawest is that great city, right? Talking about America, that whore. It says, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Now, let me get from here, let me get Obadiah. Obadiah in verse 7. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. See, those that were confederate with Esau, his allies. Those that were allies with America, they're going to set a wound under thee. They're going to lay a trap. They're going to conspire against you, man. It says, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. So all these nations, I'm pretty sure, like I said, you got all these nations, and things are going to get worse and worse. But, there's going to come a time where, like, have that saying, the straw that broke the camel's back. Hey, that time is coming. But right now, we're seeing these nations, stirring up and getting, uneasy, especially with Trump coming into office and all these other um, people coming up into power, right? New leaders and whatnot. But people are feeling uneasy. My point, right? These leaders over there, hey, I'm pretty sure they're working up some kind of behind the scenes, working up some kind of plot to try to detach from America, detach from this whole agreement with NATO and the EU nations, right? Shit, who's to say that none of them aren't doing some backdoor deal with Russia, right? Now it says, I'm gonna read this again, Obadiah 1 and 7. I'm gonna read this in the NLT though. It says, all your allies will turn against you. They will help to chase you from your land. It says they will promise you peace while plotting to deceive you and destroy you. Oh, damn. See, and we might start seeing things like that. Well, we are going to start seeing things like that. A peace treaty or agreements to, some 2028, 30, 2030 plan and trying to, establish that NWO. But then at the end, they're going to turn against America. Right? I remember there was another one that went into thy mother. Thy mother shall hate thee. Can't remember exactly where it's at. Let me see if I can find it. Bear with me. Pretty much going into Britain, right, or Great Britain. How they're gonna despise America. I can't remember where it's at, but hey, it's gonna come to a point to where, like I said, all these nations, all these European nations, all these NATO nations, EU nations, they're gonna start to despise the whore, man, for the actions that's being conducted, right, and for the one-sided benefit that comes along with those decisions, right. Now I want to just get one more, and I'll close it out. This is Matthew 12 and verse 26. It says, if Satan shall cast out Satan, or if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? See, and it's only right that the Most High takes this man out, you know, of course, by the way of the sword, which is that, the new ICBM missiles, which is his blessing, but also by his own hand, in a sense, right? Because the Most High is going to have it to where they're going to war against each other, amongst themselves. I mean, Russia is already an Edomite. They're nothing but Edomites, and they're warring against, their own people. Then you're going to have, like I said, America's vassal states, America's allies, be turncoats and war against America. You know what I'm saying? If Satan casts out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? And it's only fit to do that, especially at the end of Esau's kingdom, just to show you that this place was never, uh, uh, um, well, just showing you how this place is going to go out, man. It's on its last leg. It's on its way out. Prophecy is being fulfilled. Prophecy is speaking. You see. So, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and close it out. I pray this lesson was edifying. I'm gonna close it out by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect, pushing his word throughout the four corners of the earth in truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Until the next time, I'm gonna say, Shalom.